Hello, Cinema Appreciation class. I hope you're doing very well. As we don't get to see each other very often in this online format or the blended format, we want to make sure that you understand how the website and actually everything works within the process. So you can notice over here on our left-hand side, we have all of the weeks listed out. So here's the work that was due in week 1, here's the work for week 2, here's the work for week 3. Each week will have its own topics and work that show up. And so the first thing that you will always see at the very top, up here, is the introductions. And so today on week 2, we're talking about the 100 most influential films of all time. And that will be the main topic that we have for both week 2 and also for the final exam week, because that's what your final exam week will be on. So if you scroll down after the introduction, here's just information. A lot of times I'll have a top 10 list here that a former student has put on the particular topic for that week. Particularly many of my honors students use this as their honors project. And so here's the introduction. The first thing we really need to worry about for all of you is your daily assignments, the stuff that is actually due. So this is where your course lecture notes, this is where the required textbook readings, as well as any video notes or video lectures might be there. So you'll note in the orange, anything in orange is stuff that's going to be due that week. And so in the orange here, the required textbook readings here, here's our reading for class, here's actually our book, which has been digitized, at least the first couple of chapters, so that if you don't have access to the book, you still have a way of doing the reading so you don't fall behind. So this is all going to be due before class Tuesday. So first thing is here's our video screenings for the week then. And so here's our lecture. So you'll actually watch our video lecture on realism, classicism, and formalism. So this is actually up on YouTube, so it's closed caption as well. And then you'll be watching these videos. At any point when we stop within the realism, classicism, formalism, and talk about a major motion picture or a major film that deals or that is one of the top 100 films of all time list, you should take notes. And remember, when this is what you're going to be turning in as part of your grade before class when we see you on Tuesday. And those 2 questions you're going to answer in bullet point format, if you want, is going to be, number 1, what's new and innovative about this particular film? That's something that we can actually objectively evaluate. And the second, those new innovations, those new ideas, how do they impact film culture, film story in the future? And so that's what we'll be looking at. And I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So first you're going to watch my video here. These are my recorded video lectures, the Fraser lectures to be screened before class up here. All right, and then you're going to watch these other things. Note, there will also be generally a quiz question based upon things that can actually help you improve to become a student. I don't ever need to see these notes. The only notes you ever need to turn in before class when we see you on Tuesday is those 2 questions. And so here are some films you'll be watching. And note, they're smaller versions. So Rival of a Train is about 51 seconds. It's one of the first movies ever created. So obviously one of the first movies ever created. That's the new and the influence. Trip to the Moon, which is our first science fiction movie that shows up. You'll be watching Wizard of Oz, which has all sorts of special effects, specifically for those of you that know color. And note, you'll generally have little write-ups that I have about each film right before. Sometimes you can actually even use those as part of what's new and interesting about this film. Now, if you ever forget how to take notes on those 2 questions, right here, how to take notes on top 10 most influential films, which is embedded here because this little signal means something you write. So the notes that you are actually taking on those 2 films, you are going to turn in note before class on Tuesday. So when we show up to class on Tuesday afternoon, we literally can have a conversation on these particular films. Which is more important? Which is more innovative? What are the impacts that show up? And so that's what you'll be turning in as your homework before we ever come to class on Tuesday. As we had a blended format, we will not be meeting ever on our Thursday class for the blended format. So here's the work that you have for Thursday or for Wednesday, whenever else you want to do it. You just have to make sure that you do this and watch the lectures, read the video, read the materials if there's any materials to read before you do your discussion board posting. Because your discussion board posting will often be based upon the ideas of what we actually have that are right here. And so here you can see again, my Fraser's video lecture. Here's the Freitag narrative structure. One of your discussion board postings is going to be on, hey, analyze a Freitag of a movie we have not analyzed in film or video. You can see this is a shorter video at about 19 minutes. So it's kind of a micro lecture of what's going on. And then here are examples of all the different shot types you'll be reading and seeing. So you literally do have an idea of what they're talking about to give you a visual element as it's a visual class within Sim Appreciation class. So that's what you're doing before you do your discussion board postings, which are always due on Thursday. So Thursday, as you can see, Thursday at midnight right here, your discussion board number 2 is on a shot sequence and angles of a favorite film. So you're going to find your favorite film or a favorite film that you have, and you're going to do a shot analysis. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. The readings, the videos, the lectures, as well as we'll also be doing this in class during weeks 1 and 2 to help you along the process. But it's basically what shots, what angles, are they long shots? Are they mid shots? Are they close-ups? Are they extreme close-up? Is it high angle? Is it low angle, looking up for power and dominance? And how does that help us impact a film? Note, only one person can do any one film scene. And so if someone's already gotten to your film scene before you, you will actually have to go back and do a different film scene. So it's first come, first serve, Friday or Thursday night by midnight. Then you will have a quiz. Sometimes you'll have 2 quizzes because in the shortened format that we have in this class, these are generally short quizzes. They take about 20 minutes. You can take every quiz twice. The quizzes are very easy, provided you've done come to class, you've done the work that we've asked you to do. It really is a check on, hey, can you apply? Is this a long shot or a mid shot for this particular? Is this a realist film or a formalist film? What type of kind of film do we actually have within this process? So the quizzes are actually quite easy. If you ever mess up, you can always go back and watch the quiz, work on it and take the quiz a second time. As long as it comes in by Sunday at midnight, we're good to go. So we're ready to move on for the next week. And then at the very bottom are my lecture notes. So here are the MP4s. These are the embedded lectures that show up. They're the same ones that were above. But in case the YouTube link is not working, you always have access to them in case I'm not around to answer that question right away. Here's the PowerPoint without my overlay and voice explaining it. You just want to look at the PowerPoints themselves. Again, how to take top notes on the top 100 films of all time as part of your attendance grade. And Word documents. Again, if you really want to read a lot more, if you're better than actually looking at the visual information as I explain it, this will give you all the information you need in a visual format. So there's multiple different ways to get in the information. So again, we run through it from the very top each week. First part is the introduction. This is the introduction. Would love for you to read it, but it's not required because you'll also get some of that within the videos and the readings that show up. The daily assignments. You'll always have some readings, videos, screenings, and always a lecture note due before class on Tuesday. And so those have to be turned in. So make sure that you're answering the 2 questions and only the 2 questions that I need on the top 100 films. What's new and innovative? And how does it impact our film, art, culture, society today? That does not need to be bulleted out. This doesn't have to be essayed. It literally can just be bulleted out lists, and I'll show you an example in my Star Wars example. So that's what you're doing. There's going to be the same thing. Here's where you post it. And note, just to show you, here's one example. So here's an example from my favorite film of Star Wars. So if we did it for Star Wars, what is new and innovative about Star Wars, about the artwork? It's the hero's journey, fantasy film with a group of heroes. Toy marketing campaign was the first time that was ever done, tied to films, development of multiple sequels and prequels later on, surround sound, and how does it impact future film? Creation of blockbuster release movies, building upon what Jaws had done, THX movie, surround sound, which we still have today, promoted realistic special effects, which we haven't seen really since King Kong, cultural phenomena that everyone knows the movie, product tie-ins for future films. So we have all these different elements that are showing up. So just bulleting out the list on what you learn from the reading, the video. Then we have the blended readings. This is for Thursdays, you see, due before you write your Thursday discussion board posting. So that way on Thursday, you can actually have a real argument that shows up. Here's what your discussion board posting is on Thursday. If you click on here, we'll take you right to the discussion board. And if you go to that discussion board, my posting will always be there. So you can always use mine as a model to begin with. So you have an idea of what I'm expecting. We'll go back to that too. Beneath that then, besides the discussion board posting, so as we scroll down, will be our quiz. And so that will be on realism, formalism, shots, and provided you've done the work, pretty easy, followed by the Fraser's lecture notes at the end. And that's the layout of the class. Each week will be posted like this. So it'll be one for each of the weeks of classes we're moving forward, all the way up to the final exam. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, and I hope everything is going well. Bye.